Greetings and bright blessings. Hello, my friends. I hope that you're all really, really well. Holly here for part 2 of the Major Arcana, which is Tea and Tarot workshop number 3 here in my Centered, Aligned and Connected Facebook group. Thank you so much to everyone who is catching the replay. I'm running a couple of minutes late as per usual, but those of you who know me know that that's just standard. Young children and just, you know, going with the flow. So thank you so much for joining me. Oh, I can see people jumping on. Julie, hello beautiful, much love to you and everyone, and hello beautiful to you too, Julie. It's so lovely to have you here. I'm so grateful. Thank you so much. So for those of you who are catching the replay, let me know in the comments that you're catching the replay. Let me know if you've caught the first couple of workshops or whether you're jumping on to this one. It's your first one. If this is the first one you're jumping on, you may want to jump on and watch the replays of the first two afterwards, as what we are doing here is we're building on people's knowledge to help give you the tools to use tarot intuitively for both yourself and others. And to help you develop your relationship with symbols, with your clairvoyance, with your intuition, and to really help you, develop techniques that you can use no matter what card is presented to you, whatever form of divination is presented to you. Excuse me a moment. I forgot to put my phone on silent. So no matter what is presented in front of you, you have the tools that you need to break them down symbolically so you can start to really pick out the meaning from the card without actually having any background knowledge or any previous study into the tarot, into whatever form of card divination that you're using. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. Hello Ellie, thank you for joining. Julie says the first two parts are brilliant and fascinating and so informative. Well, thank you, Julie, so much. Tarot is something that I have worked with for a very long time. It's been a huge stepping stone for me, I guess, not only in my mediumship journey, but also my journey to know myself, to trust myself. And it's really helped me with my healing, with my reprogramming of limiting beliefs, of self-doubts, of negative self-talk. It really helps you focus on what you need to focus on. It helps give you an outside perspective, really, to see the wood from the trees. So I'm not going to dive too much into that. That's what the first two parts were about. So in the last training, we looked at the first part of the Major Arcana, and it was a really deep dive. It was really interesting. It was really fascinating. I think I learned from that experience, and it's also challenged me to dive deeper into the traditional archetypes and meanings of the cards, which is something that I've not avoided, because I think all learning that you do, it really helps build up the layers of your understanding, and you can work at it from a superficial level of just seeing what catches your eye and working with it that way. Or when you do understand the archetypes and you understand the deeper meaning of the characters, it's transferable knowledge, right, that you can use the wisdom from those cards in your day-to-day life if you're dealing with friends with problems, or bringing that wisdom in for your own journaling and your own understanding of what's going on with you, or even if you are working with clients and in whatever capacity, the wisdom and the understanding of the journey of the soul through this fool's journey, which is what the Major Arcana is. It can really help you with your own wisdom and understanding. So in that way, it's been beneficial for me. We have got a lot to get through, so I just wanted to touch on a couple of points. I learned tarot intuitively from the very beginning. So for me, it was all about seeing what I saw, you know, seeing what caught my eye, allowing my clairvoyance to come through to work with my spirit team and develop my clairvoyance, my mediumship abilities. So I'm coming at the theory later. So that's why it's been really beneficial for me. So I have got a reference book next to me just to help you understand the traditional, I've got to stop doing that all the time, the traditional meaning of the archetypes. And just in case, you know, we need to kind of get any clarification, because some of these are quite complex, as they are a very ancient, they come from a very ancient source, ancient Egypt, originally. I have been tapping into information from this book as well, which I've had for years and years and years, and it was just too complex before for me to really get my head around a lot of the concepts. But actually coming back and looking at it now, it makes a lot more sense. But this is Tarot and the Kabbalah, which is, you know, the ancient Jewish mystic and esoteric practices. So it's interesting to look at it from their perspective, because they are looking at the traditional Egyptian tarot, where it originally comes from. And in answer to a question Julie had, oh, good morning, Natalie, lovely. In response to a question Julie had, in the last one, when we were looking at I can't remember which card it was now. She asked about the letters on the columns, and I did make a note of that to answer that for you. But it's pretty much to do with what I said in that training about the duality, the light and the dark, the masculine and the feminine. It's honouring the god and the goddess, essentially. I can't find it now, but I will make a note of it in the comments and tag you in it, Julie, in the previous video. Okay, so without any more jibber jabber from me, I am going to jump into the second part of the Major Arcana. So let me know if you watched the first part. Let me know in the comments. Give me a thumbs up or hearts or something. Let me know if you watched the first half. And if you haven't separated out the second half of the Major Arcana, it might be nice to do it now, so you can do it with the deck that you have along with me. We're going to be starting at the Hanged Man, okay, which is actually the 12th card. Well, it's card number 12. It's the 13th card. And what I'm going to do, just in case you missed the first half, I've got 4 different tarot decks in front of me, and we're going to be looking at the similarities and the differences, and we're going to be talking about the main attributes of that archetype, that character. Okay, so I'm just going to have a sip of my tea because I can feel a frog in my throat, and that's not going to be beneficial while I'm talking. That's right, Julie. Yeah, the High Priestess's letter of B and J. I looked it up in the book. I found out for you. But we'll come back to that. But yeah, it was. That's exactly right. You have such a good memory. Okay. So, the Hanged Man. Now, the Hanged Man, generally... Right, let's see if I can... There's 3 here that are similar, and then 1 that is slightly different. So, let me show you. Okay. Look at these similarities here. So here we have the Hanged Man. Okay, now this card, as you can imagine, is a little bit off-putting for some people. I know, Julie, you had a few problems with this, and this can be, you know, for a few reasons. Obviously, there are negative connotations with the thought of this, but it's not a man with a noose around its neck, okay? And I think a lot of people have resistance to this card, perhaps because of past life trauma, just because of connections with being hanged. But this is about being in limbo, okay? It's about hanging around waiting. It's a card of non-action, okay? Now let's see what the Psychic Encyclopedia says. This says that it's representing sacrifice, it's representing transition, and it's representing violence. But I don't agree with the violence aspect of it. Again, it's what you perceive intuitively when this card comes up for you, and this card could come up in 15 readings in a row and mean something slightly different, and that's when, you know, discernment comes in, using your intuition comes in, okay? But it's about being in limbo. you know, he's upside down, so perhaps looking at things from a different perspective. You know, this card comes up when you are perhaps feeling stagnant, feeling like you're not moving, perhaps getting frustrated in a situation because it's not moving along as quickly as you would like. Oh, hello Delith, lovely to have you here. Oh yes, you found me, that's brilliant. I know notifications are not always coming up. I think it's because Facebook is so busy right now. So you can see here, you know, he doesn't look frightened or angry or in pain. He actually looks quite peaceful. And you can see here he's got this gold halo, which is often connected with the crown chakra, glowing around his head. So for me, the Hanged Man, and you can see that it's here as well. He's got the halo around his head. Here he's got the moon behind him, a beautiful full moon behind him. And in this card also, which is slightly different from my favourite deck, again the full moon is in the background there, okay? And we'll come back to this one in a minute, because the purple ribbons that are holding him up are quite relevant. A lovely little acrobatic pose there. So for me, the fact that the crown chakra is illuminated and there's a halo around the head shows to me that this is about spiritual awakening. It's about revelation, realization that this pause, this place of non-action is important for you to have some realizations, perhaps linked to your spirituality, perhaps to take time to create space to allow that inspiration to come in. So if you are asking, well, what steps do I need to take? You know, what is next for me on my journey? Perhaps you need to pause and stop trying to rush forward, but actually allow that inspiration to come in. Does that make sense? Hello Jadine, so lovely to have you here. Jade, hello sweetheart. Right, Jade says my Hanged Man in the deck I'm using is a figure on a swing with angel wings, completely different to the traditional. I love that because again the same meaning can be found by picking through the elements of that card. I love it. Same as this one, you know, it's slightly different to the traditional, but it has similar meanings, the same meanings if you look into it. Jadine says, hey Holly. Hey Jadine. I love that you've spelt my name that way. That is super relevant and meaningful for me, because that was actually the surname of my grandparents, Holly with an EY. So, and actually I felt them with me today, so there's no such thing as coincidence, right? I love that. Thank you, Jadine, giving me messages without even knowing. I love it. My hanging man in my angel tarot deck is an angel upside down with his wings heading upwards. I love that. So again, it's about, you know, being upside down. It's about looking at things from a different perspective. Yes, it makes sense. Love the acrobatic. Thank you, Delith. And my card is called Awakening instead of the Hanged Man. Well, perfect. It goes exactly what I'm saying, right? It's looking at things from a different perspective to open up your consciousness and your understanding. Naslie's pack has a bat. I love that. They hang upside down. I love it. I love all the different interpretations. And I have got dozens of decks. We could be here hours if I was to look at more than these four. But I, you know, perhaps that's something for future trainings. We could pick a couple of cards a day and just work through all the different decks. I would love to do something like that. So again, you know, he's hanging from a tree, so perhaps, you know, if you're drawn to the tree, it could be to do with growth. You know, this one particularly has lots of leaves growing, so yeah, new growth, new beginnings. There's birds flying in. If you're drawn to the birds, it could be that there's messages coming, again connected with that inspiration. And so yeah, you know, you could be drawn to the colours of his clothes. So these two very similar to each other with the blues and the reds. So again, you know, blues can be to do with our throat chakra, so expression, perhaps taking time to actually express yourself, connect with how you're truly feeling, and you know, make sure that you're in alignment with what you're saying and what you're doing is on the same page as each other. And that could be why there is this conflict and non-action taking place in terms of being in alignment with what's right and what you feel you should be doing rather than what you think you should be doing, because that can cause a lot of resistance on our movement forward. So yeah, here he's in quite a meditative pose, with the moon behind him. And again, the moon, you know, we talked a lot about the moon in the last training, but the moon is to do with our intuition, feeling over overthinking, you know, the divine female energy, and so much more. So it's taking time to connect with your intuition, I feel. Now going forward and looking actually now at this deck. So again, it's about, you know, that hourglass there. It's like it's turning round. It's like you're going to be waiting here. There's a wait here for you to actually think about what's going on. The fact that the ribbons that are suspending this character in the air, you know, purple, this purple colour is often connected with spirit. So this is to say that spirit are holding you. Spirit are holding you in this space. So you are where you are for a reason. And the water at the bottom, water is often symbolic of our emotions. So it could be that you need to get your emotions cool and collected before the next door opens, the next step becomes visible to you. It also, you know, again, that moon behind you, trusting that he's actually taken his mask off. So this is the Fool from previous cards that we went through. So he's actually taking his mask off, which, like the blue of this, it's about, you know, being authentic, being your true self, using your voice, speaking your truth, and taking the mask off. It's like, right, actually show your true self to the world, stop hiding. And that's where we are now on this part of the journey through the Fool's journey. Okay, it's about truly being yourself and speaking your truth, and that's what's going to help you move forward over these blockages. Okay, so I'm trying not to mix these cards up too much, so put these in the right decks. Okay, cosmic, there we go. Right, okay, so so that's the Hanged Man. So any questions around that before I move on quickly to the next one? Do you like my mug, by the way? A dash of magic. I think this has become my my staple mug for my live trainings. And I've got a yogi tea. It says, when the dawn of simplicity comes in life, complications leave. Well, isn't that perfect for the Hanged Man as well, actually? Perfect. I love that. I love it. So any questions around that, guys? I know there sometimes is a bit of lag on the comments, but I can always come back. Right. Wow, that was an accident. I was going to apologise and correct it. No, I'm so glad you didn't. I'm so glad you didn't. And my nan, whose surname was Holly with an EY, when I was putting my rings on just now, I've been wearing one of her rings a lot lately, and it actually fell off on its own without me touching it, so I knew she was around. And that's just an extra sign, so thank you so much. I love it. Delith says, love the mug. Thank you. So fantastic. Right, so next we're going to move on to card number 13. Unlucky for some, lucky for others. Very lucky number for me. And number, again, is another aspect, another dimension that you can tap into if you have an awareness of numerology. You know, the Kabbalah, you know, and again, the origins of tarot, is a lot of it is based in numerology, and the original meanings were constructed around numerology because everything is number. The arcanum, it's powerful, and when you have knowledge of that, it's profound. So if you have an existing knowledge already, definitely use that when you're working with the tarot, because it's important. If not, don't worry, it doesn't matter. You can just work at the level you are. Okay. Yes, we should all have one. You were born on the 13th. Fantastic. So, Number 13, the Death card. Traditionally, in traditional decks, it is the Death card. This is the most traditional I have. The Rider-Waite. Some of you may have started with a similar version to this. This is the universal weight, actually. I have got another traditional Rider-Waite, but I thought this was prettier for us to use today. So this is the traditional one. In some decks, you may have, like in this one, it changed to transition because it's less scary. And that's one thing about this deck, the Connolly Tarot deck, and a lot of modern interpretations. They take that fearful, that scariness out of it. Like the Good Tarot, which I don't have actually here right now, is one of my favourite all-time decks. It's so beautiful. I know some of you have it. I know Delith has it. Release. Julie, I love that. Julie's Angel Tarot card is called Release. I love it. So it's about letting go of the past. So here we have in the Cosmic, Death. But my favourite, it's this. So although you have this scary imagery, you also have this beautiful white rose here. So, you know, the Death card is all about new beginnings. It's about transition, as this card said. It's about release, as Julie said, is on her Angel Tarot card, okay? And so it's about that relevant, that necessary ending that's going to fertilise the soil and give you strength and wisdom to take part in this new aspect, this new beginning on your journey. So that's what the Death card signifies. You know, you can see here that although, yes, it looks quite scary, he's moving towards a sunrise. He's moving towards a new beginning. And although it might be this scary, I don't know if you can really see, skeleton knight on horseback, he's riding a white horse. And white horses are symbolic of purity, about, you know, pure and honest intention. It's about strength and being supported by spirit more than anything. About, you know, horses are always symbolic of strength, power, movement forward. And so the fact that he's this white horse and he's got this white rose on this flag, it's like, yes, okay, at first it looks scary, but actually there's all this beautiful, hopeful, encouraging symbolism all around him. You know, the same here. It's like the sunrise is coming up. It's from darkness to day. And it's like this new beginning is framed by this dark night. And actually, it's like you're being led to this beautiful new beginning. You know, it's, you know, right, so for those of you who have already got a knowledge of the suits and things, you can see, I don't know if you can see, there's a broken sword here. And sword is to do with our mental processes, okay, the way we think, what we focus our awareness on. And so this is like, this sword has been broken and broken up. It's like, it's a whole new way of thinking. It's a whole new way of being, of living is being created from this ending. So it's very, very promising. And again, there's so much symbolism in these cards that we could go into separately. You know, there's planetary symbols in this card here. So this is the transition one. So going from darkness into light. Perhaps you've been going through a difficult time for quite a while, and it's time to, you know, go into this new lightness, like way of being, seeing things more clearly, seeing things differently. Here he's got a green shirt, which is to do with our heart chakra. So perhaps a lot of heart healing, compassion is needed, forgiveness is needed. And then draped in this purple, which is again the colour of spirit, as we've talked about. Okay, so you have here the white roses as well, which is, you know, it's that beautiful new beginning. Like I said, white is purity, the rose unfolding. It's really a very strong symbol associated with the divine feminine, the Shakti rising, the opening of that, that divine feminine energy, that intuition, that empowerment of being creative, being spiritual, being intuitive, being the nurturer, and so much more is associated with the divine feminine, but that, you know, that's what these roses can symbolize in many ways. They do for me anyway. So again, we could go into lots of depth, but here again, a crown is on the floor broken, crown is on the floor broken here. So perhaps, you know, it's in many ways, it's again, you know, a real change in the way you view yourself, perhaps an ego death taking place. So, you know, again, going through the Fool's Journey, you know, that Hanging Man being the previous card about, you know, about time to think and to contemplate and open up to inspiration. The fact that this is the next card, it's like that time in limbo, that time of non-action has really led you to deep, profound awakening and a change in the way you see yourself. And so this is the start of the new journey after that time in limbo. Yeah, I think that's all that needs to be said here. You know, the fact that the stars are very clear around the edge here, it's that cosmic light coming down, again, getting that divine communication, really strengthening that connection with the cosmos. And, you know, perhaps a loss of your attachment to materialistic things. What does it say here? Representing stagnation and routine, but also fresh starts, a clean slate, liberation and renewal, which is what, you know, what we've said. So, you know, and one thing that I always say, you know, it's all the circle of life, right? You know, death in our culture, yes, we fear it, we see it as something scary, but it's something actually that it's part of nature, it's part of our, you know, purpose. We were born and we die, and we're born again and we die again, and a lot of people become fearful of it because we don't talk about it, because we relegate it as something really bad, because we see it as so finite and you know, the be all and end all. When you're dead, you're gone. And we know a spiritual people walking a spiritual pathway, we know that that's not the case, and actually death is just a new beginning. You know, it releases us from burdens, it releases us from pain, it releases us from perhaps difficult situations, and releases us from the confinement of this physical being, and releases us back to the spiritual world where we came from, where we aren't limited, we aren't restricted anymore. And it's through death that the ground is nourished, the you know, the soil is replenished, so we can, you know, start to grow new crops. You know, without the things and plants and animals and all of that, you know, dying and nourishing the soil, there would be no nutrients there for the next level, the next generation. I hope that makes sense, and I hope I'm a bit distracted because I can hear something happening downstairs with the kids. So I hope that you can't hear that. Sorry if you can. I think everything's okay. Their dad's looking after him, so that's okay. So any questions around the death card? And what does it mean to you? Does it mean anything different to you? Is there anything different in your card that stands out? You know, feel free to take photographs of your cards and put them in the comments so we can all have a little look and a compare between our different decks. But so even here, even in this card, you still have the Horseman, you know, you still have that strength, that power to help you move forward. Okay, but I love, you can see again, transition, release, that there is more positive ways of looking at it. I think, you know, often when people haven't got an understanding of tarot, and it happens so much in readings, when the death card comes out, people gasp and recoil and become quite fearful, and again they see it the surface value of the meaning rather than the deeper promising, optimistic meaning behind it. Julie says, I feel it as a positive card now since I have been looking at the deeper meanings. Yes. Yeah, it's a beautiful card, because often, when you are doing readings for yourself, or if people are coming for a reading, it's because they feel stuck. It's because they need a bit of hope to say, look, this period of stagnation is coming to an end, or what have you. If they're going through a difficult time or what have you, it's the Death card is a promising one, because it says, look, it's coming to an end, and there is a positive beginning out there for you. You just have to believe in it. Which is always, important to reassure people when you can. So we'll put these down. Okay, so the next card we have is Temperance. Now, Temperance is a card I used to struggle with, coming from it from an intuitive point of view. Dalith says, I'm really scared of the one that looks like a clown. Is that the Fool card you mean, Dalith? So Temperance. Now, Temperance, we'll see what the book says about this first of all, and then I'll tell you how I read it. So Temperance, representing enthusiasm, moderation, truthfulness, mixing of opposite ingredients in proper proportions and working together. So let's show these cards. So here we go. Here we have Temperance. So we have pouring from one cup to another, or pouring away in this case. So for me, Temperance is about things in moderation, being able to turn something from one thing into another. Perhaps, the alchemy of changing darkness into light, pain into wisdom. So this is, it's about that, not like, okay, how can I explain? Not overindulging, not overindulging, but not denying yourself pleasure either. It's about that balance and having harmony in your life. Kirsty Sarah says, I am new to all of this. Well, what a lovely introduction. If you have any questions, please pop them in the box, Kirsty. I'll be more than happy to answer them for you. This is actually part 3. The other 2 are in this group as well, so you're welcome to go back and have a look at those. It's a really fascinating subject that I love so much, as you can tell the way I talk about it. It's amazing. So yeah, any questions, please drop them in. So Temperance. So let's talk about the similarities in the cards first of all, and what the inherent meaning from those is. So again, you can see the similarity between these two. These two are always very similar. You have the white dress, so going back to what we talked previously, wearing white clothes. It's about purity, it's about clarity, and it's a really high vibrational color. Actually wearing white when teaching, when meditating, when doing communication, white actually helps to expand your aura and raise your vibrational frequency. The power of color is so profound, and so that's why a lot of yogis and spiritual teachers wear white. That's why Kundalini yoga practitioners wear white, because of what it does to your energy. So this is an angel obviously wearing white, and this lady here, although she hasn't got the angel wings, she's got a red cloak or cape around her. So this is is purity of intention and strength. These red wings coming from behind, strength, power, determination. It's powerful, pushing you forward here. Okay, pure intention, because the angel wings, it's about your intentions are pure, they're in the right place to help, to serve, to strengthen others. Now again, we have matching symbols here. So the triangle is often symbolic of spirit, the mind body spirit connection, your connection to your spirit guides, connection to God or the divine, and those people around you. It's to do with the Trinity as well, whatever it means to you, right? But it is very powerfully strong, connected to spirit. Okay, so Here you have the sun rising with a crown inside it. So this is a rising of the awareness of your spiritual power and your connection to the divine and your truth that you are a creator, a god. So this is that connection, okay? And here, wisdom coming down. Look at her crown chakra glowing there, and here as well. So this is the next stage of that evolution of spirit. You know, here again, sun over the third eye. So this is about really beginning to have that understanding that you are divinely connected to source, that you can tap into that wisdom at any time. And, you know, it's about, you know, again, with this water being passed back and forth between the cups, it's about taking time. It's about, you know, about changing one thing into another, but not rushing the process and enjoying the process, if that makes sense. So here's another version of the Temperance card. Again, the sun coming out from behind the clouds. Here you have, she's not even looking at what she's pouring. She still has that crown. She still has that symbol over her third eye. Look at all the growth, the vegetation, the plant life. And she's pouring it, knowing that it's flowing into the river, but that's fine because she's got this abundance of energy. She's got this, you know, this true connection with source. And look, you can see that she's partially nude, which always suggests to me strength, belief in oneself. The power of vulnerability is knowing that, right, well, this is who I am, and I don't care who sees it, I don't care who knows it. It's about really truly honoring and trusting yourself and your belief in yourself. Okay. Jane says, hello, my lovely. My card is showing a fairy in white filling a chalice from a lion's head. The water or liquid from the lion is red, and on the other side it's being filled with white liquid water. Well, isn't that a powerful symbol? Now, the lion is often symbolic of the sun as well, so we have this similar imagery. The water or the liquid from the lion is red, and on the other side is white. So again, it's that strength, that power coming in. Red, you know, if you think of red and the associations with the root chakra as well, so it's to do with strength, it's to do with power, it's to do with safety, security. So all of this, and again, the lion is symbolic of strength as well, and power and confidence. So all of this energy is coming in through that, you know, that connection with source, that understanding of source energy. And, you know, all the other symbols as well, like that I've talked about before, the birds coming in, the growth from the vegetation and all of that. Now here we have beautiful, again, reflective. So you have that light coming down from the heavens. You have that purple colour all around the pillars, showing strength from spirit. And you have that you know, that alchemy of balancing the fire with the water. So having that strength, that power, but also that coolness. And you don't need to know all of that meaning, but it is, you know, it's just something to think about. But yeah, beautiful light coming from the heavens, filling up the cups with that divine energy and strength. Okay, does that make sense? And Jane, take a photo of that card, stick it in the comments. It would be lovely to see these other cards. Okay, and same for everybody. So there we have Temperance. You know, temperance, as I said, it can sometimes mean that you're overly restricting yourself of things. You're not taking time to enjoy the moment. You know, sometimes it can be reflective of needing to just let your hair down and have fun, and don't overly restrict yourself. It depends if it comes in reversed or the right way up, but we'll talk about that in another training in the future. Okay, so next we have card 15. Now we have the Devil. Now this is another card that can come in and frighten people when they first see it. Again, you know, when you start looking at the deeper meaning behind the card and not just looking at it at face value, you actually see that it's not something to be fearful of, but actually something to be really aware of in your life. So actually, which is lovely. This card is so this is again the more traditional one. Okay, so the devil is in the background with a man and a woman in chains at his feet. They've got little horns on their head as well. Here we have the devil again with people in chains, things going on. But here we have like a more industrial background of things going on. And he's wearing like a military kind of uniform. Here, this one is my favourite. I keep saying it about the same deck, I can't help it. This very sexy devil is there holding above someone the 4 different suits with a big coin in the background, a big pentacle in the background, and that's to do with the material aspect of our lives, which is interesting because in this deck, which is the one that, you know, that takes the scariness out of it, they've called this materialism, and that's exactly what it is. Whenever I see this card, I see this as something behind your awareness pulling the strings, you know, like this devil here. It's like he's got all of these different, your mind, your money, your emotions, your journey. It's like he's moving them like puppets on a string. So it's like there's something behind the scenes that you're not aware of or not wanting to acknowledge that is manipulating you, influencing you, like materialism, like having your priorities on the wrong thing. So Julie says, in my Angel Tarot pack, it's called Ego, and that's exactly the same. It's like you've got your focus on the wrong thing. If you're focusing on ego or allowing your ego to take the driver's seat, your priorities in life are all going to be upside down and back to front. Okay, so this is about being aware of what controls you, what influences you. Let's see what the book says here. The devil representing superficiality, confusion, ignorance, apathy, limitations, frustrations, and sexual problems. Okay, I'm not sure about that, but it can be to do with, you know, focusing on the wrong thing. You know, and sexual problems can come from that, I guess, like, rather, you know, but that's a whole other subject. So, you know, here it's like he's not wanting to look, he's not wanting to acknowledge that he's being manipulated by this, what's going on behind. Here it's like these people are in chains, but they're quite happy about it. They're living their life. I don't think they realise this is going on behind the scenes, and how true and how relevant that is in today's world. Again, a subject for another day. But you know, so here again, these two, you know, they don't look, that's why these horns have gone, they don't look like they're bothered that the fact that they've got this devil behind them pulling the strings and running the show. So this is about being aware of what your crutches are, what you're you know, what you're putting your concerns into, or your weight around. Is like, are you focusing on the right things in life? Okay, and here again, it's the different suits. So you've got the pentacles, the cups, the wands, the swords, and they are the different aspects of our life. And it's like this guy is chained to those. He's being held prisoner by the different parts of his life, rather than him being the one who's just flowing through life, living a heart-centered, soul-centered life, just going with the flow and allowing things to unfold as they should. He's putting emphasis on things that are incorrect, that are making him a slave to his thoughts and what he thinks he ought to be doing. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. And this beauty is there behind him, like this rainbow is there behind him, but he's not seeing that. He's not looking at that because his focus is elsewhere. So that is, so that's the devil card. Again, you can go into it and look. You can look more deeply at the different symbols. You know, wearing red. You know, the gold, like the gold the gold pillars there. So even though you're focusing on the wrong things and you're having this manipulation externally, you know, your locus of control is outside of yourself, those pillars are still there, those gold pillars, which is again something connected with spirit, that you still have that spiritual support there with you if you just take the time to change your focus and look in that direction. And Dalith says, money is the root of all evil. That's an interesting sentence, because it can be, but I don't think money is the root of all evil. I think greed is the root of all evil, because money in many ways is just an energy, and money in the right hands can do so much good. Okay, but it's the way that we've been programmed to chase money, to chase materialism. We've been really programmed to think that we have to work hard, we have to give up, you know, the majority of our lives to earning money to be able to survive. And the really, really, really rich have got it all, and they're the ones who are evil in many ways. I'm not saying that, you know, not a blanket statement here, but, you know, the puppet masters, those pulling the strings, and it's their greed. It's actually their greed and their ego and their obsession with power that has taken them down that road. And, you know, these statements that we say, it's interesting, and you know, not in any way criticizing Dalith, and I don't want this to come across as such, because it's something that I used to say as well, but actually by reframing that relationship that we have with money, rather than thinking it is evil but a necessary evil that we have to have, see it as something more as an energy that we share and exchange with each other. It can really change our own abundance and our ability to manifest that abundance. You know, the words we say have power. They shape our reality, and so that's just something to think about. But it is a very interesting statement, and you know, we are all programmed with so many of them, and perhaps something to really journal on and dive into. It's a very fascinating subject, that whole thing of beliefs that we inherit from others. Julie says, the person in my card has a blue mask on his face, and I just can't get an interpretation for this. Okay, so a mask is always to do with not showing their true self. The fact that it would be blue, it could be that they are... you know, right, so blue is to do with the throat chakra. It can be associated with creativity. So it could be the fact that they're being very creative in their way of portraying themselves to the world. Actually, it's really creative and very thorough front, that they're really, really doing a good job of hiding their true intentions from the world. Blue is a colour often associated with sadness as well, you know, feeling blue. So it could be that they're putting this mask on of sadness and despair or neediness, in order for us to go, oh, it's okay, I'll come and help you, or I'll do what you need. And it can often be, you know, those of us who are empaths, who are nurturers, who are givers, who are healers, who are carers, who are mothers, or what have you. You know, our automatic instinct is, when someone is sad, is to want to try and help them and uplift them. And so, you know, perhaps this ruse of the blue mask, it could be that they're, you know, they're playing the victim, they're playing hard done by, in order for us to give them our energy. So it could be something to do with that. But again, it would be a different thing in different cards. And again, your intuition, if you really, you know, tap into intuition, and you ask your spirit guides to assist you with the reading of the card, you know, it may feel different, it may come across differently. Okay. Yes, greed is the problem. Yes. I love money. I love money, and money loves me. That's what that's what one of my mantras is I'm trying to use. I know we're all in a similar boat at the moment, with regards to not being able to work and what have you. So yeah, trying to reframe how you see money may help you attract it to yourself. But money in the right person's hands can be very, very beneficial, and it can be a very good thing. You're welcome, Julie. You're welcome. So I hope that all makes sense. Okay, so the next card is the Tower. We are number 16. Now this card is interesting. It comes up a lot. I know for a friend of mine, it comes out every time she takes her deck out. You know who you are. So the Tower is another card that is often associated with negative things, and people become worried when they see the card, and you'll understand why, okay? So this is the Tower card. It depicts a tower that is crumbling and collapsing, people falling from the tower. You can see here a lightning bolt is hitting it. People are jumping from the tower. Here it's on fire. Being burned by, is it the Eye of Ra, the Eye of Horus? And here it's being hit by meteors and collapsing. Now this is another one that is to do with endings, often painful endings, but necessary endings. Now let's see what the book says. Representing spiritual awakening, destiny often shows as the house of God or as in ruin. So this is about something that perhaps has been an important, fundamental aspect of your life, all of a sudden is coming crumbling down. Again, the fact that it's to do with awakening, these bolts of lightning coming from the heavens, it's like an awakening has happened, an awareness has happened that is causing massive changes to perhaps relationship situations that you thought were concrete, that you thought that was it, that is exactly how it is. So this is very much a shattering of a paradigm, an ending of a situation to, again, create new growth. Now you can see it's coming from spiritual awareness, so from God, from the Eye of Ra. This is associated with our intuition, our insight, our ability to see through the mirage, the illusion, read between the lines and see things exactly as they are. And so that's why this is necessary endings, because perhaps you've become aware of something that you become aware it's not serving you, perhaps become aware of something that actually is quite detrimental in your life, that's held you where you are for a certain amount of time. Julie says, I think the whole world at the moment is going through the Tower. I totally agree with you. I totally agree with you that it's the birthing of the new world, right? It's the labor pains of a whole new paradigm being born. And so there is always some destruction with that, okay? So where do we start? It's the tower's crumbling, it's burning, it's falling, but from that you again have a foundation where you can start to build anew, to build something more solid, more sturdy, perhaps more environmentally friendly, perhaps more sustainable, perhaps more suited to your needs now. Perhaps, yes, that served a purpose, the person you were at the beginning of this journey, but now something entirely new is needed. And so it's about that clearing out. It's that often that the dark night of the soul, it can be the ego death. The ego could be this tower that we've built up, this identity, this character that we identify with, that we believe is who we are. That's the ego. But we're not. We're so much more than that. We're the spirit behind that. We're the eternal being that is so much more than this character, this person. And so perhaps it's the death of that, of what you identify with, to actually see that you are so much more. And something that always stands out, again, it's like the forest fire, right? The forest fires are devastating. They kill so many animals, they destroy so much vegetation, but actually after a forest fire, the soil, the earth is so much more fertile, which allows all this new growth, these new trees that perhaps wouldn't have had chance to grow before because there was all of this, they were growing in shadow of the trees above them, right? So it allows new growth, new things to germinate and to grow in our lives. So again, just look at what you're drawn to in the card. Here, we've got this crown falling. So again, it's changing the way we think, changing the person of power, or whoever has power in our lives. So perhaps it's a changing of someone that we had a lot of respect for, we had a lot of love for, perhaps someone who had a lot of control over us, being a crown. Perhaps there was someone that we idolized or put on a pedestal, and perhaps that it's the time of their control over us in life is shifting and changing. So the colour in the background here is indigo. So this again is associated with the third eye. So intuition, insight, being able to see clearly and understand what's really going on. And here, look, she's got I don't know if you can see, she's got the rose in her hand. He's got this big blue cloak thing wrapped around himself, so he's ready to start expressing who he truly is without the restrictions of being up in this Rapunzel type tower. And he's pointing, he's like, oh, I'm ready, I want to go over there now. So it's about freedom from restriction. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. So we can move these out the way now. So any questions on that one, guys, on the tower? Trying to put these in the right piles. So any questions around that one then? Has anyone ever had any resistance to that card, perhaps previously, because of the imagery around it? Have another sip of my tea, it's gone cold. Okay, so I hope you're enjoying. So we have got 5 cards left of the Major Arcana. We have been on a journey. Thank you so much, everyone who has stuck by. And hi, Rihanna, lovely. Julie says, loving this. I'm so glad. I hope you're finding it valuable, no matter where you are in your practice with the tarot. And so the next card we have here is the Star. Now this is the rising up after the collapse of the tower. So this is the rising up after that ending that perhaps may seem like devastation, that painful end. And this is demonstrated perfectly in these cards because, you have the tower here that is collapsing, and then as it comes to the Star card, the next card, you have the ruins of the tower in the background there. So this is the rising up, the phoenix rising from the ashes to embark on this new part of your life. So the spiritual changes took place around the Hangman in the next card, and now because of those spiritual changes, the physical world around you, perhaps the life you've built up for yourself, it doesn't fit anymore. It doesn't match. They don't vibrate at the same level. They're not sustaining you. They're not nurturing you. They're not helping you. They've not evolved with you. Okay, so it's time to leave that physical aspect behind. The tower has fallen for you to now start building a new life for yourself that's in alignment with your spiritual pathway. And you're beginning to blaze a new journey. So here the Star is portrayed as a gentleman. He's got his staff here, which is to do with our journey and movement forward, and being guided by a star. So this is almost like he's leaving home, he's leaving this behind, and he's venturing forth to find a new life for himself. This rainbow bird coming in, being guided by spirit, and it's really, it's allowing your intuition to guide you, to be spirit-led, to live this new life. Okay, so here in this version of the star card, she's here, she's this lady, the star, is you know, pouring all her emotions away, pouring the water away, cleansing and clearing the earth, realizing there's more to life than what she had previously. And she's there, all naked, all exposed, but confident. And that's one thing, you know, similar. This lady is nude as well as this lady. All of these are the star card. And it's about, and this being blue as well, you know, going back to the blue being the throat chakra, it's about being your true self, being authentic, expressing your true version of yourself. And so this is about, you know, realizing how far you've come, about, you know, leaving this devastation behind, leaving this pain behind, but it's strengthened you. It's made you wiser. It's made you more confident. It's given you more belief in yourself. You know, it's when we come through difficult times that we see how strong we are. When we go through these difficult times, these pain, this trauma, these difficult situations, it's through that suffering that we gain wisdom. And so that's exactly what's happened here, this rising up. And it's about, you know, stars shine brightly. So it's like leading the way for others to do the same. It's like, look how far I've come. Look what I've done. And it's inspiring others on their pathway so they can, you know, rise up like the phoenix in their own lives as well. You know, I always say, you know, always live your truth, always do the best you can for yourself, because you don't know who is watching you, you don't know who you're inspiring. And so just by doing you, by being your best version, by doing your own healing, by doing your own rising up, you can inspire others to do the same without even knowing that you're doing that. So be the star in your own lives, ladies and gentlemen. So again, you know, there's the growth. I love this card here. This is from the Cosmic Tarot. Again, you have that bright star shining in the sky, lighting the way in a new direction. Again, it's, you know, lighting up the headband, which is to do with the light coming down from the heavens, inspiring, guiding. And the water lily. The water lily, for me, is always a sign of hope. It's always a sign of keep going, you're nearly there. Yes, it's to do, you know, the lotus blossom is associated with wisdom unfolding. It's to do with the opening of the crown chakra and connecting with that. But a lovely analogy that I heard the other day about the water lily is that, you know, the seed, it germinates and it sprouts and it grows up through the murky, muddy water, just believing, trusting that it's going to find the sunlight at the top. And it keeps going, knowing, like there's no evidence to prove it, but it knows that if it keeps going, it will find the light and it will come to the top of the water, and its petals will open and it will find that sunlight, right? So perhaps the star can show up when someone has been through a difficult time to say, look, you are going to shine your light. Your light is going to shine bright and it is going to unfold and it is going to be beautiful for you. So does that make sense? I actually have, I don't know if you can see up on my board there, I have the star card up on my board just to remind me and inspire me and bring that energy in. So that's, yeah, rising up after darkness, after the collapse of the tower. So does that make sense? Does anyone have any questions around that? What is your star card looking like? What does it conjure up for you? Do let me know. Oh, hello, Susan. It's so lovely to have you here. Thank you for being here. So Julie says, yes, this makes sense. I have struggled with this card. Thank you. You're welcome. You're welcome. And again, it's just what it means to you, what stands out in the card to you. You don't have to understand the meaning. What does it say in the book? Representing meditation, inspiration, hope, immortality, often shown as a woman kneeling on a seashore. So yeah, it's about that immortality. Yeah, it's like rising up again, realizing your spirit is eternal and it will continue to rise again, and you know, it's to do with that connection to the heavens, that empowerment, that belief in yourself, and that belief in yourself rising. And again, going back to that divine female energy, that connection, you have that moon in the background here. So yeah, and from the star we evolve now to the moon. One of the most beautiful cards. I probably say this about all the cards, but it's so beautiful. Now the moon, again, I have up there. Oh, it's the moon. No, there's the star. Yeah, the moon I have up on that side. Little face poking through the door to say hello. So the moon, as I've talked about in this video and previous videos, it's to do with that divine feminine empowerment, that rising of that intuitive, knowing, nurturing, creative, inspired aspect of ourselves. And so here we have, right, these are quite, right, so these two are the most similar here. So let me show you these two first of all. So we have the moon, full moon bright in the sky. Now here, the moon and the sun are together. Interestingly there, but we have a crab, or a lobster, whatever that is, leaving the waters. So the full moon is associated with our emotions as well, okay? And the water, like leaving the water, is like coming out of your emotions, is no longer allowing your emotions to run the show. You know, realizing that, you know, we don't have to engage in our emotions. Yes, we can be aware that they're rising, but we can choose to change our focus. We can choose to think about something else and not allow our emotions to, as I said, take the driver's seat and control our lives. Okay. So here we have, you know, again, this beautiful woman basking in the moonlight. Again, she's naked, she's nude, so she's comfortable with who she is. She's honoring that, she's embracing that. She doesn't care who sees her, and is very happy to expose herself to the world because she believes in herself, because she's risen. She's risen after the crumbling of the tower, and she's now seeing her true power. She's honoring herself, believing in herself, and taking that time for self-care, self-love, and doing what needs to be done for herself on her journey. Here there is a lot of Egyptian symbolism. So you have these Egyptian gods holding the Ankh, which is the balance of the masculine and feminine, the symbol of life. You have the triple goddess here, I don't know if you can see, which is to do with the cycles of the moon. It's a symbol, you know, in paganism, in Wicca, of the triple goddess, mother, maiden, crone. You know, the moon plays a huge aspect in that, and in the lives of Wiccans, of awakened women. You know, the moon rules women's cycles, our emotions, our hormones, and it has a massive impact on our ability to articulate ourselves, our ability to be intuitive and empathic, and it has a very profound effect at drawing our emotions to the surface. So this is about being aware of our emotions and working through them, not allowing them to take over, but actually seeing them for what they are, and again, seeing them as valuable tools to teach us. So again, you know, it's about contemplation, learning to understand yourself. That's what this card shows. And you know, in this card, actually all three of these versions of the moon, the mountains are there. So it's to say that perhaps there may be a journey ahead, or perhaps there's been a struggle and a journey behind, perhaps that there's still some work to do, but you're going to be guided in the right direction. The pathway is going to be illuminated for you to help you. Again, we have the symbols of the pillars, which come up often, time and time again, which is to do with strength and support. So wherever you are, wherever this comes up for you in a reading, that strength and support is still there. So So trust that. And that's what comes with this awakening journey that we've been through the tarot, through the major arcana. It's about understanding, honouring and trusting that that support is always there. And it really helps you acknowledge that. And once we acknowledge that support is there and remember to ask for it and we lean into it, it changes everything. It changes everything on our pathway, okay? Whether that's, you know, emotional, relationship based, whether it's to do with our direction in life, connecting with our purpose and where we're going, whether it's to do with our own healing journey or our own professional journey, our own career or whatever, whatever our life purpose is. You know, once we know that that spiritual support is always around us and that we can tap into that, it just opens up the path ahead. And that's what this journey showed us, that we've come to a point now where we're deeply connecting with that, where we're working through that and working with that. You know, here we've got two dogs, which is companions, right? So you've got companions on your journey, walking you through, leading you through, coming out of the water, out of the emotions and onto the land to take, to adventure forward along the pathway. And you know, so we've got the moon here, which is about, as we said, about feeling into things, trusting your feelings, diving into your feelings and really getting to know that side of yourself. And here, so we have, it's to do with wands, our journey forward, the swords, it's our mental space, what we think about, what we focus on. And again, you have the sun and the moon combined here, but the purple and the pink is very, very prominent in this card, as well as the indigo. So the purple is to do with the spiritual support, the pink is to do with our heart chakra, the unconditional love that we give ourselves as well as to others, and the indigo there is that intuition coming in, being inspired and led forward. Okay, so I hope that that makes sense. And again, all the different cards, you know, it's about things becoming clearer, it's about you know, again, growth and vulnerability. Okay, so I hope that that makes sense. So the sun, then we travel from the sun, which is the divine feminine, the feeling, the sensing, the inspiration. We move from that to the sun is the next card, and the sun is associated with the divine masculine, which is about action taking. It's about being you know, it's about that strong intention and being really illuminated. So rather than just feeling and being inspired with the way to go, the sun is shining down brightly, showing you in broad daylight where it is you're going. It's about illumination, it's about that trust and seeing, and it's about really being guided and strengthened and nourished, because the sun is more than just light, it's spiritual energy, and it feeds us, it nourishes us. I mean, goodness me, there's yogis in India that don't eat, they just drink water and meditate in the sun, and they're hundreds of years old. And, you know, I'm exaggerating, but they're in their hundreds. And this has been recorded for millennia, that, you know, when you become truly evolved spiritually, you know, you can nourish yourself with just light from the sun. And, you know, it's a profound thing. And so let me just jump into the comments before I move forward too much more. Julie says, the lobster is considered to have power of protection and discovery and transformation and rejuvenation. Thank you for that. That's really interesting. And all of those words are very relevant, actually, to what we talked about. I mean, here, in just backstepping a moment, in this card, it's Cancer the crab coming out the water, and that's the mother. The Cancer is the mothering sign of the zodiac, the really emotional, loving card of the zodiac. So it's about honoring that, again, very divine feminine aspect. So thank you for that, Julie. So the sun, let's have a look at some of these cards. So these three very much show children or childlike characters with the sun. So here we have cherubs, and here we have a child. And it's, you know, it's about connecting with that inner child again. It's about connecting with that innocence, that love, that seeing things with these eyes of everything is beautiful, seeing things as they are. The sun is illuminating the truth, right? So it's seeing things truly as they are, enjoying the beauty of nature. The sunflowers on the white horse. So this, what we said about the white horse, about spirit helping you move forward with ease, with strength, with a really fast pace to propel you forward on your journey. So this is about light being shone on your journey ahead, the direction you're going in. Here in this version of the sun, you have almost like a wizard or an alchemist with all of the planets of the solar system suspended in like a mobile. And here above at the top, you have the signs of the zodiac. So this is so this to me reflects that, you know, everything happens in phases. The wheel of the year turns. There are external influences more than just what's happening in our close physical proximity, but also what's happening in the cosmos around us, the energies of those around us as well. Now, you know, the sun, you know, brings life to, you know, to the plants. It helps flowers grow, the vegetables grow. So here you have all this growth and vegetation. Let's see what this says here. The sun, it says, represents enlightenment, clarity, understanding, comprehension, wisdom, happiness, and splendor. So this is about seeing the beauty in all things, really, and evolving to that point, and you know, trusting as well. You know, when I think of the sun, I also think of the solar plexus, because, you know, as above so below, as within so without. Okay, and our solar plexus is our internal sun, and it's almost like remembering to put emphasis on that. On your solar plexus is, you know, the seat of your soul, the spiritual connection that you have, connecting, remembering how important you are, remembering that you are a being of light as well, and you know, it's the importance of that. You know, so it's enjoyment, it's splendor, it's vitality, and I've just seen this little guy on the horse has got like a red feather in his headdress, like Yankee Doodle. But yeah, really beautiful going forward. And actually, you have the wheel of the year down here as well in this like mechanism, but actually this actually looks like the emperor from it's somewhere in this deck. It's the emperor, so the emperor's come in again, but he's actually changed from thinking that he's the center of the universe and the all-important big I am, to actually realizing that there's so much more going on around and growing in awareness. So he's evolving on his journey through the cards as well. So does that make sense? And again, depending on what catches your eye at the time of reading, will show what's more what's important to give focus to in the reading at that time. Does that make sense? And you know, the balance is important. We need the divine masculine as much as the divine feminine, and I think for a lot of us, and it's coming up a lot in readings, that it's really important that we honor both aspects of ourselves, because you know, it's the divine union, the yin and the yang. It needs to be in balance. So I hope that makes sense. I think a lot of times the divine masculine, it's like, because we've been dominated so long by a patriarchy and the misuse, and rather it being of the divine masculine but the wounded masculine, I think that people throw the baby out with the bathwater and focus so much on the divine feminine, and she is rising, and the divine feminine is so important, but you need to honor the divine masculine as well. You know, the you know, again, I could do a whole live on that, but you need it needs to, you know, you need to honor both is what I'm saying, gibbering on a bit. And I picked this up and didn't even drink it. So who's with me? Let me know who's still here. I hope that you're enjoying. We've got 2 cards left of the Major Arcana. And it's interesting to see these last 2 now are 20 and 21 numbered, but 21 and 22 really, because the Fool is 0. Julie's still here, fantastic. Thank you for all the hearts. I really appreciate those. Don't forget to pop any questions in if you have them, and if you're catching the replay, if there's something that hasn't made sense or it hasn't been clear, thank you for the hearts, Del. Then do please ask away. Please ask away. And if there are any subjects that you would like me to specifically hone in on in a live, let me know those as well, okay? I want to do as many trainings as I can for you all. And at this point, I just want to say, you know, I am doing this free of charge. But these are workshops that I actually facilitate in the real life world when we're not on lockdown. So if you have found it beneficial, any donations will be gratefully received and deeply appreciated. There is a link to my PayPal tip jar in the description box of this live video, so don't feel any obligation to, but if you have found it valuable, any donations are greatly appreciated and very much appreciated. So Jadine's still here. Yes, I'm so glad. Thank you, Jadine, for being here. Because I know you have a lot of experience with tarot yourself as well. I know you do readings, so it's lovely to know that there's actually people who do readings like Jadine, like Julie, who actually hear and hopefully, you know, enjoying, taking things away that they didn't already know as well. Julie says, in my Angel Tarot deck, Judgment is called Renewal. Now that is interesting. And Susan's still here. Hello, Susan. Now that is interesting because that's something that I think is very appropriate. Now I'm going to jump into this card first. So this is like a renewal. This is Judgment, but this is like Judgment Day almost. So rising up into the light from the darkness. Here you have people bursting from the earth. They've obviously been buried as the trumpets of heaven sound. Again, here people climbing out of their coffins as the angel blows his trumpet. And here, a very different card. Almost as if there's like an inner judgment going on here. So that's exactly renewal is a great way of looking at it, because it is like a rebirth. It's about, again, rising up from a place of low vibration, a place of negativity. Like these people perhaps have been in some kind of turmoil, thinking that things can only be bad, that they're not in a good place. And then, you know, the angel comes, the organs are playing, and they're rising up out of this darkness. So it's not judgment in terms of someone is judging you, but it's a case of letting go of the judgment on yourself, perhaps releasing yourself from your own criticism, releasing your, you know, so again, you're working through these phases and letting go now of the different layers. This could be the things that you're holding you back, the limiting beliefs. It's listening to the call of the trumpets, and really then, you know, following that sound, that orchestra, aligning with your purpose, the reason you chose to incarnate, and letting go of any judgments that perhaps you fear judgment from others, or letting go of any judgments that you have, saying, well, no, I can't do that, that's not a proper career, or I can't do that, what will other people say, or, you know, I can't do that because it won't bring enough money in. Like, you're judging the situation as if you're not going to be looked after by spirit. You know, you chose to incarnate for a reason. You have a purpose to fulfill, and you wouldn't do that if it was going to set you up to starve to death, essentially. So, you know, you will be looked after if you align with that purpose. So it's letting go of those judgments. It's balancing the masculine and feminine, again, which you need to do, but know that there's a new dawn, a new beginning. Again, it's emphasis on that rebirth yet again. So a lot of these cards in the second half of the Major Arcana have been about beginnings, regeneration, renewal, rebirth, and you think, well, how can there be another one? How can there be another one? And that's the thing, when you get to a certain point on your spiritual journey, it's like layer. You think, oh right, that's it, I'm in, I'm so close to enlightenment now, I'm so wise, and then another layer opens up and you have another level of experience, like, oh my gosh, I didn't think I could experience anything that profound, oh my goodness, it's amazing. And then, oh, another one and another one, and it keeps going, and it happens in cycles. It's that old expression, the more you know, the more you realize you don't know. And the deeper down the spiritual path you begin to tread, it is new beginning after new beginning after new beginning, these layers and layers, these levels, as you reach these new vibrational frequencies and these new levels of awareness. It's like a constant wheel turning, and you never come back to the same place again. I always say that, time isn't like a wheel, it's actually like a corkscrew. So you're moving forward through time. So you're going back to a certain thing, but you're coming to it from a different perspective, a different angle. So sometimes you revisit lessons that you think, I'm done with that, I've healed that, I've let that go, but then you come at it from a new perspective, a new point of view, new layers peel back, new awarenesses are received. And so that's something that is associated with this card, this Judgment card. Okay. So Jane says, I'll have to send pictures. My card is called Renewal. Okay, same as Julie's, with a bearded man signing a parchment, element of Christmas, elves and holly in the trees, and also surrounded with bunnies and butterflies. So bunnies are symbolic of spring, so new beginnings, creation. Butterflies are a symbol of transformation, because you've traveled from, symbolically, not you, but symbolically you have traveled from a caterpillar to a chrysalis, and you've emerged now as a butterfly. So you've been through this phase of transformation. Holly, the symbol of holly in the card, as you said, is like Christmas. It's a symbol of spiritual protection. It's quite an auspicious symbol, which is why it's brought in to celebrate Christmas and Yule. Because it is protection. It is bringing green life into your house at a time where it's there's not a lot growing outside, so it is a symbol of hardiness and resilience as well. So the elves is like the magic, I suppose, coming in. But signing the parchment, it's like right, it's taking pen to paper to create the future that you want for yourself. It's, by writing things down, it has a really profound action on manifestation, on intention setting, helping things to be created in our reality. Because again, words have power. Writing things down, it's also confirmation to the universe. It's showing the universe, look, these are my intentions. And writing also helps you see things from a different perspective as well. So it helps. I always think perfect journaling, perfect for judgment, because by writing things down, you look at things from a different perspective, from a place of non-judgment. Because when you write your story down and what you're going through internally down, when you read it back, you're looking at it from an external perspective, from a completely different perspective, and you're seeing it almost like an outsider looking in when you look at it back in that way, which does give you a completely different point of view. It allows you to have critical judgment and discernment. See, okay, am I over exaggerating? Why does this keep playing in my mind? Let me judge and see how powerful. Why is this so powerful? Why has it had such an impact on my programming in my life? And it really allows you to see things with a critical, judgmental way to help you get rid of those last things perhaps that are holding you back, that are having a negative impact in your life. I hope that makes sense. Jane Louise Millard says, amazing, thank you. You're very welcome, Jane, my darling. So I hope that makes sense. Again, we could go into all the different colours and things like that, but again, that's something that you can use your own discernment for, your own intuition for, when you're working with the cards, whether for yourself or for others. And I think, talking about writing, you know, it's really powerful when you are doing readings for yourself to write things down and to journal on each card, because again, it gets you out of the way. It gets your conscious mind, your ego, the personality that you identify with out of the way, and allows that stream of consciousness to come through you, whether it's from your own higher self or whether it's, you know, your spirit team, the universe that you're tapping into, you know, by writing and free flowing in that way. It, like I said, it allows that stream of consciousness to come through to perhaps, you know, get answers and insights that you weren't aware of before. So I think that that's really powerful. So we'll just see what this says in the book here. Judgment, often shown as angels blowing trumpets, representing awakening, something new, rebirth. So that's exactly kind of what we said, really, isn't it? You know, perhaps here it's going from, because this is the Judgment card again, it's, you know, it's focusing on the way we think because of the swords. It's going from perhaps this quite cynical, masculine approach to life, evolving to the feminine, the connection with the intuition, the insight, and evolving further into this young, you know, inner child, this little innocent baby with non-judgmental eyes, going out into the world, into the bright blue sky. So it's this evolution from constriction to freedom in many ways. Okay. Oh no, Daleth, you've lost the signal and the screen is frozen. I hope you haven't missed too much. Or is it that I'm frozen? Am I frozen? Can you hear me but not see me? Can someone let me know? Because it doesn't say that I've lost any signal. And it does. The screen will go black if I lose signal usually. Can you see me all right, guys? Just give me some hearts or some thumbs up or something. Let me know. Let me know if you can see me, if my recording is going on okay. Okay, that's good. Thank you, Julie. Okay, so last but not least, thank you for all the hearts, everyone. I know there's a bit of a delay, so thank you so much. So lastly, but by no means least, we have the World. This is the last card of the Major Arcana. We've travelled from the Fool in the first part 1 to the World, card 21. Right, Susan said, thank you so much, Holly. You have been really helpful, amazing. Oh, you're so welcome. You're so welcome. Thank you. I love all the compliments. Okay, so we've come from the Fool at the beginning of the journey, someone not prepared, very optimistic, just launching himself out and drifting off into space in some instances. Now we have the World, which in my deck, the one that I use the most, so he's come full circle and is now mask off, floating in space, but not trying to be pulled back down to the ground, actually embracing and honouring his connection with the stars, with the cosmos, opening up, arms wide, ready to receive anything that comes through, being aware that everything happens in cycles, with the year of the zodiac, with all its characters, all the energies coming in there to influence him, and he's looking optimistically out into the world, with light shining from his hand. So this is someone who's very aware of their power, very aware of everything, and the world being his oyster. Anything is possible for him. Okay. And it's like all the slanders run to the bottom of the timer. So it's like, you know, there's no rush. You have all the time in the world. There's no restriction on time. So that's one portrayal of it. And he has the red and the blue, the red and the purple suit. So this is about strength, you know, spiritual protection, courage, conviction, and feeling safe and secure in that launching into the heavens. Here we have the World, almost looking like the Venus de Milo there. So here she's so just truly being herself, channeling that divine energy down into her hand, into her body, through almost like a lightning rod, right? So she's bringing that spiritual energy down and embodying that. She's in space but also has the Mother Earth energy around her with the roses the divine feminine roses blossoming and blooming, all of this beautiful growth around her, this purple cloak draped around her, protecting her. She's capable of anything, because she is, marrying in that divine energy from the heavens with that divine energy from the earth. And it's beautiful. Oh, so beautiful. You have flowers of all different colours. So you have daffodils, you have lilies, you have these little purple flowers at the bottom. Could be daisies, can be forget-me-nots. So it's springtime, as well as kind of oak trees, oak leaves here. So that in itself portrays an awful lot. Yay, Delith is back. I'm so glad you got it back online. Like technology, it doesn't always serve us the best, does it? So glad you're here, Del. So here in this portrayal of the world, again, you have the strength of the lion. You have the sight of an eagle who can see far down the road. Okay, you have the strength of the bull, Taurus, here, to help give you power and propel you forward with confidence on your journey, as well as showing up to be your brightest, boldest self with the Leo. Again, she's there nude with the purple ribbons, or whatever you'd call that, banner around her, pearls in her ears for wisdom being heard and received, blue in her hair, beautiful. She's holding white candles, which, now when you see the symbol of a candle, it's often about illumination, about spiritual wisdom, about being illuminated, right? And so she has 2 white candles that are burning at both ends. So this is being full of that spiritual wisdom that perhaps you've gained from your experiences on this journey through. But it's someone who's very, very wise. And spiritually connected. Here we have very similar images again. So again, we have the bull, we have the lion, we have the light of inspiration from the heavens, we have this cosmic energy coming in, the eagle once again, and also the roses. You have this stream. We've got the full moon in the background, this stream of roses and stars flowing in through the top of her. And look how sexy she is. Look how confident she is. And instead of having like a purple scarf around her, this is like it's not a scarf, but this actually looks like energy, like spiritual energy. I don't know if you can see, it's almost like it's got all these different patterns in it. It's very fluid. And so it's to say that there's protection around her, in a different way. Spirit coming in, protecting her. But she's happy to show herself to the world because she's nude. She's got that beautiful little headdress coming down over a third eye, honouring her intuition in that way. And yeah, so she also actually has decorations like pearls on her feet. I don't know if you can see, but it's almost like she's walking forward with wisdom. She's honouring her journey ahead, and she's grateful for her body to carry her through this journey of life, and all the different aspects of that, all the different faculties that she's gathered and gained and accumulated. But she's strong, she's fierce, she's powerful, she's courageous, all the things that we become when we travel through our journey of life, when we take the wisdom from our trauma, when we, spiritual alchemy, like I mentioned earlier, turning our trauma into wisdom, turning the darkness into light, and the strengths that we gain from our experiences when we frame them in the right way, when we truly get to know ourselves. And through all these different processes, through letting things go when they're not serving us, through really honouring, loving, trusting ourselves, how powerful we become. So that's that's the Major Arcana, everyone. So Julie says, on my card of the world at the top and bottom is the infinity sign. Absolutely. Because the circle of the year, the wheel of the year, time is infinite. Our beings are infinite. And when we realize we're infinite beings, it puts everything else in perspective. And we don't worry about the same things that we used to before. And we don't allow things to get to us, or we don't react to things in a way that we would have before. And knowing that we're infinite beings and really honoring that, connecting with that, feeling that, not just knowing the theory of it, but embodying it, feeling it, connecting with it, meditating on it, meditating on that and feeling that connection with source energy. It changes everything, and it makes the world your oyster. It makes anything possible. So yeah, wonderful, powerful. In a way, this is like the infinity symbol wrapping around this wreath at the top of the bottom. They are all similar in their ways. So does anyone have any questions on that? What is your card at the moment? What Major Arcana card keeps coming up for you at the moment? Let me know in the comments. If there's any that you want, again, take photos of and share. Put them in the bottom. And next week, in the next session, we're going to start looking at the suits. So we've done the Major Arcana, now we're going to go to the Minor. Okay, and we're going to start looking at the suits next week. So if you have any questions on that, do prepare those for me. Yeah, it's been wonderful. I've really, really enjoyed it. So yeah, I am also opening my books up for readings. If anybody would like to book a reading, just send me a direct message or let me know in the comments below and I'll get in touch with you. I offer a number of different ones if you just wanted to ask one question, or if you wanted to have more full reading, whether you wanted it to be about your own healing journey, perhaps issues that you're facing at the moment. If you wanted something more in depth and profound, perhaps to do with your life purpose, what it is that you need to let go of and release, do let me know. We have a new moon tomorrow. Not so relevant for those catching the replay perhaps later on in future months, but tomorrow we have a new moon, and it's going to be a really profound time for setting intentions. And it's a really good time as well for asking the question, what do I need to focus on now for my greatest good, to help me align with my purpose, to help me release what isn't serving me? Ask questions about what is the most important actions I can take at this time, or for me to focus on at this time, to help my desires come into manifestation. And it's a really great time to ask those kind of questions around the new moon, and do tarot reading for yourself and journal on these things, because it can be really profound and helpful. Julie says, I have loved this session. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom and insights. You're very welcome. I've enjoyed it very, very much. Della said, I'd love a reading. Fantastic, Della. I shall send you a message and we can get that organised. I send my readings as MP3s, so we don't have to worry about coordinating and organising ourselves. Just send me the questions, guys, that you want asking, and I will get them recorded and send them over to you. So yes, I'm also going to offer a discount for anyone who's been watching the tea and tarots. Just say tea and tarot when you're messaging and booking. I know some people might be watching this and not commenting, so if you just want to send me a message, say you'd like to book a reading, you've watched tea and tarot, and I will give you 10% off the bookings. Okay. It's been a lovely session. I really have missed them. I know I've missed doing the sessions. And it's nice for me to do them in this way, because I realise I share so much more. In the group sessions we have, we practice the reading, and I'm going to be doing some of those sessions as well. And perhaps after I've gone through the different lessons I want to do, just do a live dedicated to pulling cards for each of you, so you can get a reading, but also see how I intuitively work through the cards, and I can talk you through actually how I use that as a focal point to open up my clairvoyance, and I'll try and and talk you through that as I'm doing it. Deborah says, thank you, Holly, for this brilliant session. You're very welcome. I'm so glad you've enjoyed it, Deborah. Julie says, yes, I miss your card. Yeah, I read that one. It's been a lovely session. Thank you. So as I've said, if you've enjoyed, donations are very gratefully received. There is a link to my PayPal above, and if there are any other subjects that you would like me to cover, any other perhaps series of lives that you'd like me to cover, please let me know. Obviously, I have a large repertoire of expertise that I share. If you haven't already joined me, I do live meditation sessions every Thursday morning in my soul-centered meditation group. The replay does get shared in here, but if you wanted to join us live for soul-centered meditation to help you clear any energy that you're carrying that doesn't belong to you, that isn't serving you, to help you really connect in with your soul, to connect with the heavens above, the Mother Earth below, and to really get some protection around you to help you work through this energy that we are awash with at the moment while we're in lockdown of fear and anxiety. It can really help you get a firm handle on that, and to, just to lighten up your spirit. And so I do that every Thursday morning, 10:30 over in my soul-centered meditation group. So if you wanted to come and join, if you're not already, let me know. I can send you a link. Della says, you really do impart so much knowledge this way. I'm such an auditory learner. Thank you. You're very welcome. I don't know if you've checked them out, Delith. I actually a couple of years ago now, I did some podcast episodes on loads of different subjects. They're available to stream or download for free from my website. No need to sign up or anything, and there's all kinds of things that you might enjoy listening to over on there, Delith, as well. Have you listened to any of those yet? Let me know if you have. So yes, gosh, there's some dogs barking outside. I don't know if you can hear them. So yes, thank you so much everyone for being here. Thank you so much everyone who's been catching the replay. I really, really appreciate you for taking the time out of your day and spending this time with me. I hope you found it beneficial and you can take some things away that you can really start to work with straight away. Yes, I will give you a link to my website, Julie, no problem at all. But yeah, I just want to say I'm so grateful for you all. I'm just so blessed to have connected with people that appreciate so much and learn so much, and it's a joy to impart and share this knowledge. That's what I'm here for. Life Path 11 in the house, my friends. So yes, enjoy the rest of your day, wherever you are in the world, wherever you're watching from, whatever your plans are. Enjoy some sunshine if you can. If you want to get your cards out, share some pictures in the group, please do. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you same time next week for the Minor Arcana. Loads of love, my friends. Oh, and don't forget to tag anyone that you think would benefit from this. Add anyone to the group that you think would enjoy these trainings as well. I love you all so much. Bye for now.